Today we're taking a look at the Intrepid Compact Enlarger, but first let's take some photos. Set up the view camera. And that got the marks for the focus. And our clouds. Our gigantic clouds.
Fluffy clouds. This is one of 4 sizes of this.
Oh wow. That first one you brought out, I was like, oh, that's all of it. No, never mind.
That was half of it. This is half, so that's what's in here too. So basically,
So as you can see, Madeline and I had 20 pounds of polyester filling and a corner of her kitchen she had cleared out, and we decided to have a little fun with it and my Intrepid 8x10 and Mamiya RZ67. The basic idea was kind of like a Greek goddess painting or some kind of vision of medieval art or something like that, a woman among the clouds, and we went to work. It was very simple. I lit it with a single flash bouncing off the ceiling to her left, actually her right, camera left. And that's all I did, and the bright material also definitely helped that, but also the kitchen ceiling was kind of an ideal bounce. Anyway, I wanted it to be about the subject and the visual, and not about some studio trick or even what camera I was using. Even though I was using the Intrepid 8x10 and the Mamiya RZ67, I thought I had loaded some Portra 160 in the 8x10 holder, but instead I
from right here, it's a really cool thing.
Of ancient Fujifilm Provia 100.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I had decided to meter the Portra 160. I thought I was shooting at 100 just to get a little extra light, so I wound up exposing the Provia 100 just fine. And I also realized my mistake before I processed the film. I decided to shoot Ektar in the RZ67. And even though I had not quite gotten the Intrepid Enlarger yet, I wasn't even thinking about putting these as RA4 images, but as you'll see shortly after this, fate intervened. I used my Sony a7R III as sort of a flash meter and Polaroid check, because that used to be a thing, but otherwise I didn't really find the digital photos all that interesting. All right, you can relax.
Look at me, I'm dripping.
And yes, the polyester filling was very hot, and even though it wasn't particularly hot in her kitchen, laying among all of that filling, all of that polyester, was extremely hot, and she was very sweaty at the end of that shot, as you heard. And also, there wasn't as much support as you might think in there, so she was having to hold that arched pose. And when they say film is a little slow, it's slow on the model side as well. It was a wrap, and I'm really happy with how the photos turned out, and it was a pretty quick setup, a pretty quick teardown, and I think super productive. And here are a couple Polaroids before we look at the 8x10 and 6x7s. I really like how the 600 shots turned out using an ND filter on my SX70. And I was among the first 40 to support the Intrepid Compact Enlarger Kickstarter, and it finally arrived, and I'm really excited. It was a very basic unboxing, and I'm not great at these, but I thought I'd share a little bit. The film holding mask did come loose in shipping, but nothing was damaged. So let's take a look at the parts. You have the enlarger timer on the left, and the enlarging head itself right here has a simple bellows, but they're high quality. I like that the backlight I'm pointing at has a little level on it, makes it easy to get it straight on your tripod or camera stand, and it has a little tripod hole there. That part I think is metal and is good. The front element that holds the lens is nice and sturdy. The focus rail feels very strong, and I have this Schneider 80mm lens that I've slightly modified for reasons maybe I'll explain one day. That screws in. It's an M39 mount, I believe, which is the same as most common enlargers, and also the old Leica screw mount. Depending on what you print, you'll need different lenses. I have 3, thankfully, with another enlarger. I chose the 80 this time because I'm printing a 6x7 negative. The bellows clips off with some magnets right there to the backlight, which is actually a system I wasn't super happy with because it was hard to get the negatives in the carrier perfectly, but Hey look, I've already made my enlarging timer ugly with these glow-in-the-dark stickers and a little shield that I'll explain in a moment. The film carriers are actually pretty nice. I kind of wish they were filed out for full frame, but you could possibly do that, or maybe they'll print some more, but the inside is very nice and matte. They're hinged together with what feels like sturdy gaffer's tape. And overall, I have no real complaints about the holders, although the clamping system is a little funky. Let's go print a photo. I'm using the camera stand I use for camera scanning, and I have to say the power cord is a little weird. There's this little button that it's in the instructions, but there's this little connector you have to be careful with, but you shouldn't have to take it apart. The controller is pretty intuitive, pretty well explained, although I did add those little glow-in-the-dark stickers to the run and focus buttons so they'd be easier to spot in the dark. And my enlarging space is kind of small, so I had to get creative to check the f-stop on my lens. I'd like to take just a second to thank my patrons listed here for all their support. For as little as $1, you too can become a patron and join these 15 awesome folks. Just click the link in my description or find me and join, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. While we check out this first print, I will note that the shield is on the enlarger timer because the backlight on there doesn't turn off, which isn't a problem in black and white, but it is a problem in RA4 color printing, as RA4 paper is sensitive to the red spectrum of light. And I did print that photo backwards, by the way. I used ViewScan to make this scan because I generally like the color better, although Silverfast has a few more options, and even the latest Epson software is okay. But I haven't been using scanners nearly as much since I got into camera scanning. Anyway, I did tweak this photo a bit because I didn't have enough time to quite make a perfect print, although I did get a little bit closer after this. But I thought I'd share a little bit of the adjustments I made in post to show this to you in the video. And you can debate about scanning and presenting RA4 prints and stuff like that, but honestly I think there's nothing wrong with it, and unfortunately the internet is how we present a lot of our work now. But since I was doing that digitally, I decided to cheat a little bit and do my retouching here. Retouching is not exclusive to the computer age, although the computer age makes it so much easier. I would have loathed to have hand retouched this image, although that could also be a really cool skill. But let's really look at these photos now. I'll start with the images I made scanning with my Sony a7R III and converting in Negative Lab Pro. Of course, this one's just a straight scan because it's the Provia 100 slide, which unfortunately suffered badly because it joined this companion photo together in the developing tank when they both popped out of the reel. The Provia film base is ultra thick, but these are Ektar 100 shot in my RZ67. I'm pretty happy overall with these. I didn't retouch I think any of these except for possibly that one, just to show you the basic, not quite raw scan, but very rough scan. And we will do a comparison between this and something else in just a moment, but I wanted to show you a baseline based on digital film scanning. Now we're going to also look at the RA4 prints I made from two of these right now. I did tweak these a little bit in Photoshop, as you saw a moment ago. Looking at them in a vacuum, these are Ektar. The skin tones are awesome. I think Ektar has definitely gained its red reputation because of how it being scanned at home and not at a lab. Even though we think maybe of film being primarily developed and scanned at home, it's still like a lab-based world, and the colors are aimed for lab equipment and scanners. But anyway, there's a quick comparison of the digital and physical prints of this. That's the physical print, and now we're looking at the digital, and I'm going to show you both of them right here. Now, it's easy to say a few things about the photos. Like, if you like sharpness, the digital is probably going to be the one you prefer, but I love the color of the wet print, and there are good things about both, especially on the resolution front and the color front. This isn't a comprehensive review by any means, but I think the Intrepid Compact Enlarger is a worthy buy, especially if you're limited on space or you've never printed before. So if you want to see how this journey goes, subscribe and turn on notifications, like this video and leave a comment, and I will see you soon. Thanks.